Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. Will you agree with our panel? Or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. I am Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, is Claire Milan
Hello.
and Cathal Feeney.
Hello.
All right, Claire, what did we watch this week?
So this week we sat down to watch an animated short film. It's by a guy called Sacha Goedegebure, and from Omen Studio. It's about a man suffering from depression who is caught in a sudden downpour of pink, fluffy balls. At a crowded bus stop, a cheerful looking woman offers him a spot under her umbrella, and together they enjoy the soft rain. So it's written and directed by Sacha Goedegebure. Apologies for the pronunciation. Music by Jan Morgenstern. Produced by Kelvin Chow. Yeah, so this film it's basically about depression, and it's a guy, he's kind of waking up and he's really depressed, and he goes to the cabinet and he opens it up and he's taking his pills, and all of a sudden when he goes outside, he's all these little fluffy creatures appear, and he sees all these fluffy creatures bouncing around the place, and then this lovely woman who's she's kind of has this loads of kind of happy, positive energy. She starts dancing with them in amongst all these fluffy little creatures. And yeah, it is a very simple film, but I thought it was beautiful. I loved particularly the music. I thought the music here really absolutely added to the short film. And just look at the comments underneath. It's people relate to it who have depression, and it's very well animated, and you can just feel the heaviness and the feeling of how low this main character is, and how hard it is to get up every day and get on with life, and then see this little burst of energy come out of him when he meets this woman. But yeah, I thought it was a really beautiful, beautiful animation, beautifully shot, and very simple as well, and with a nice little message. So I don't know what you guys thought of it. Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'll go. Well, I just made a mental note there actually when you were talking about who directed it. I think in future we're going to have to pick films that are made by people with more easily pronounceable names.
Yes,
We
apologies.
always struggle over it. But
Yes,
no,
apologies.
not at
Directed by John Smith.
yeah,
Wow,
John
you guys.
Smith or O'Brien or something.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Bomo or something. Yeah. Anyway, look, not at all. No, we judge by the quality.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah, I didn't read the blurb about this before I started watching it, so I just
Okay.
just dove straight in. And you think it's about something I didn't know it was going to be about depression. So I thought there was something at the beginning, wasn't there? I didn't. I
Yes,
skimmed over it.
actually, there's a quote. I'll just read out the quote. It's very famous. It is just one moment.
Oh yeah,
Life
when it
isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain by Vivian Green. So I think it's a famous quote, isn't it? I think he
Okay.
probably took that and created the animation around that quote.
Okay. So that doesn't specifically say point towards depression. So you think
No,
it's
no.
a guy who wakes up, he's kind of got
Yeah, yeah.
he's obviously he's a work day, alarm goes off, he's tired, and he
Love the
goes out
pills.
running and
Yeah.
everything. And then suddenly he meets this woman at the bus stop, and they make a connection to start dancing, and you think, oh, he's going to live happily ever after. But no, he doesn't. He sinks back into his depression. So
Spoiler alert.
ultimately, it's a depressing kind of a message.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the one thing
but
actually. I wanted it to be more. Like it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. Do you know? That's one thing I found about it. It's just the ending. Yeah.
yeah, and well, there was that ending
Mhm.
to the ending.
Oh yes,
Where
yes.
you see it from her point of view,
Mm.
and for anybody watching it like we would have watched it, uh, if you were somebody who was slightly depressed and you watched this film and maybe you took something out of it, but then the end of it where they were shown that scene, they had these little captions covering that scene that you were trying to watch, and that would send you back into a depression spiral. So thanks
Yes,
for
that's the only thing. I mean, yeah, because it did. You were trying to watch this end credit scene, and there was
yeah,
another
yeah.
advertisement or something else. That was very
The
distracting.
pop-up
Yeah.
thing there.
That wasn't to do with the filmmaker now at all. It was just the
YouTube.
YouTube or whoever is running this thing. So
Yeah. It's very annoying. But like I
yeah.
said, lovely animation, very
Mm.
nicely, very sharp, lovely bright colors, and very cute, I suppose, with the pink rainfall and the little eyes and everything like that. One more thing I'd say, that the last quote, yeah, uber spoiler alert. Not that I haven't done it already. Depression isn't always obvious. Now, for him, if you look at him, he looked depressed. He
Mhm.
looked obviously depressed from the
Yeah.
very beginning. And even, okay, you had that interlude, but
Mhm.
he sits on the bus, sits away from the woman, he comes back home, he's depressed, right? So it was obvious with him, he was depressed. I think that quote was a bit misplaced. If it had been a film where somebody, you see them have a normal life, go to work, have the laugh,
Mhm.
go out afterwards, partying, everything, then comes home,
Mhm.
and you see him with the antidepressants, then you would say depression is no, it's obvious. And that's
Yeah.
my
I think
point.
in this, as you said, I definitely agree with you there. It is very obvious from the very start. There's no qualms about it. Yeah. Mm.
Well, I like the aspect though, like, yeah, I mean, obviously he's very depressed. I mean, it's, stop motion animation, but there was an interesting aspect though, like, because the fluffy little pink fluffy balls, and you're like, oh man, that'd be like sweet if these little things were falling from the sky. You'd be like playing with them, and so even though, but his depression is like, oh, this super cute thing's happening, and it's kind of brings me down. The girl kind of brings him up a little bit, but he still doesn't react in ways like, is it like, is she just being nice, or is she maybe flirting with him? And so you think like maybe he should try chatting her, but he's in his own thing, so which as a depressed person probably would do, you just kind of, let her go, you and then, be back in your depression. And same at the end, like with a lot of these kind of movies, you think like, yay, it's going to have a happy ending. But the reality is, if you are suffering from depression, right, at the end of the day, you go home and you're still depressed. It's not like one thing in your day is going to suddenly alleviate that depression, which is kind of what I actually liked about this, is that ending bit where, before the credits, the ending bit where he just kind of goes back home and he's like, okay, and the end of another day. And the reality is it's kind of the same at the end of
Well,
the
it's
day,
more
which is
realistic because if it was another cliched film,
very,
the things would fall on the ground and then he'd be happy and then he'd end up
yeah,
happy. I suppose that's not as realistic. So this is a very realistic portrayal of depression in one
yeah.
way.
Which
Yeah.
I think, which I think is great because it's stop motion, right? So it's kind of giving a realistic portrayal of a person with depression, tries the different medications. Maybe this one works, maybe this one works, who knows? Kind of working, not really. But then at the end of the day, you're still kind of the same, even though maybe you might have a good day or a good experience throughout the day, which is kind of cool.
Well, you're right, Milo, but I'll take issue with you. If I walked out and these pink fluffy balls started falling with eyes in them, that would freak the hell out of me.
It's like a horror film.
People
Only-
are like, what?
What? My God.
Yeah. I
What is
did think it
going
was funny though when they were when people walking, and I'm like, no, like, are they stepping on them then? Because they're
Yeah.
all over the ground, and I'm like, oh, they're squishing. They must be squishing the pink little fluffy things, and you don't want to squish them. They have cute googly eyes.
And then I love the way when the transition from the fluffy things, spoiler alert again, when the bus
Yeah,
passes and then it's rain. I just thought it was brilliant. I love those transitions of kind of
yeah.
a movement in front of the camera and then it's like a reveal. That was really well.
Yeah, that was a
Mhm.
sort of pathetic fallacy moment
Yeah.
in the film. There was one thing else now. Oh yeah, I have a couple of pieces of advice for that character, for anybody else. Uh, First of all, change his alarm. Okay,
Mm.
that one beep beep beep. I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
make you depressed.
It's
That
like
would
an arrow.
depress you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
let's something very soft, classical music. Rising up, and maybe go to bed earlier so you don't have to wake up to an alarm.
Yes. Yeah.
Two easy little things you could do to improve your life.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, I
And
heard.
if a cute girl holds her umbrella over you, you
Yes.
thank you, and
Mhm.
ask her if she wants to go on a date. If she says
Yeah.
no, well, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're not going to ever see her again.
And you know what I loved
exactly.
as well was there's kind of like an animated drone shot when it kind of rose above all the pink the pink creatures, and it showed them swinging around and dancing. That's kind of like a ripple effect. I thought that was really good. Like the animation of that, of swinging like 360 and
Yeah.
seeing them. I thought that was a beautiful scene.
Yeah. And the mixing of the CGI animation with the stop motion, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really well done. I heard this joke, so you can cut this out, Claire, and I, if you want. It's sort of related. I only heard it yesterday or the day before. So there's these three pessimists that used to hang around with each other. And one day, one of the pessimists said, I'm going to be an optimist. Today, I'm going to be an optimist. So he's an optimist. So then for a few days, he's optimistic. And then one day, a few days later, one of the pessimists sees the optimist is looking sad. So he says, why are you looking so sad? I thought you were an optimist. And he says, do you think it's easy being an optimist? They don't.
One of
Well,
your Cahill jokes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not a laugh out loud funny, a laugh out loud funny, but it's I think in a way
Mhm.
it sort of relates to this thing because if you really start thinking about the world and the world around you and all your problems and everything like that, everybody should be depressed. You should be depressed. You
Yeah.
know, it's you think it's the natural way to be. So in other words, you have to. It's a state of mind in a lot of ways. I'm not trying to simplify it either, but because people have suffered from depression and recovered, I suppose. So it is about adopting a state of mind ultimately. Cut that out.
Yeah, we've got plenty of your other jokes in, Call. I mean, I think the audience has started to expect an occasional Call joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we don't want to
yeah.
let them down.
Mhm.
Well, I only heard it a couple of days ago, and I thought, hey, it's relevant. Yay, I can use it.
Where do you hear these jokes?
It wasn't a joke. It was on a podcast. It was a serious
Okay.
political podcast. All right.
All right.
So I won't reveal my
Well,
source.
okay. All right. Well, let's rate it. You want to go first, Call, or you want me to go?
Will I go first? Yeah, I guess I'm the last in, first out. What's another thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, like the two. I just want to make this point here as well. Like, the two quotes beginning, well, more so the one at the end. It's not depression isn't always obvious, and I suppose what they're saying is that watch out for signs. But when you're interacting with people, dealing with people, you don't know what's going on in their lives. So maybe try and show a sense of awareness of what people might be going through. And you know what that is? What's the word? What's the most current overused word in society today? I'll tell you, it's woke. So that's being woke, people. Anyway, I was very well done, great, lovely animation, and it was a serious point, and it didn't cop out in making that serious point. But I wasn't totally sold on the whole this, the way that it was presented. So I'll give it 3.5 stars.
I am always impressed with people that do stop motion because of the challenge. I like the mix of the CGI and the stop motion, the message that goes with it. I don't know why. For some reason, it just didn't hit with me though. So I'm gonna go right in the middle and go 3 stars.
Okay.
Although I feel like I might be rating it too low, but
Mm.
I'm going there anyways.
So for me, I thought I loved the animation. It's a massive skill to do this, and then combine it with the CGI. And I thought it was an interesting and realistic portrayal of depression. And I loved that animated drone sequence. And of course, the music. The music was absolutely terrific. So for me, I'm going to give it 4 stars.
Right. There you go, no budget audience. You can check it out. It's called Soft Rain. Let us know what you think. by reaching out to us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at No Budget Show, or leave a comment in the notes below and give us your rating. And with that, we'll say see you next time and goodbye.
Bye.
Right.